So I have quite a few students at school asking, why do I have to attend school? And it is a fair question, but it also shows that they are not interested or have that same spark in learning. So I thought I'd do a video to show why you must attend school, because there's really a legal requirement and a duty as well. So let's begin. Albert Einstein said, "Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school." So it's a fair question that students may ask, why do I have to go to school? Ultimately, this question has been asked by so many students in classrooms around the world. The thought of day in and day out having to attend an educational centre, complete problems that the teacher makes up and write stories, and attend fitness classes, all this for what? The concept of compulsory education, which requires children to attend school, has a long and complex history in the Western world. The first formalised system of compulsory education were established in the 16th and 17th centuries in Europe, but these were limited to certain groups of students, such as boys or members of nobility. In the United States, the first compulsory education law was passed in Massachusetts in 1852. Requiring children between the ages of 8 and 14 to attend school for at least 12 weeks per year. This law was eventually adopted by other states, and by the early 20th century, nearly all children in the United States were required to attend school until a certain age, usually 16 or 18. In Europe, compulsory education laws were implemented in various countries throughout the 19th and 20th centuries. For example, in the United Kingdom, the Education Act of 1870 made elementary education compulsory for children between the ages of 5 and 10, and subsequent laws extended this requirement to older children. Today, nearly all countries in the Western world have some form of compulsory education laws, although the specifics vary depending on the country. In many countries, children are required to attend school until they reach a certain age, which is usually 16 or 18, and in some cases parents may face legal penalties if they fail to ensure that their children attend school. For instance, in Australia, the age at which children are required to stay in school varies depending on the state or the territory that they live in. So currently in Western Australia and Northern Territory and Tasmania, children are required to attend school until the age of 18. In other states such as New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, South Australia and the Australian Capital Territory, children are required to attend school until they complete Year 10, which is generally considered around the age of 16. But they may also choose to continue their education in other forms such as through vocational education and training or apprenticeships. The evolution of education is a long and complex story that spans thousands of years and encompasses many different cultures, traditions, and innovations. From the earliest forms of oral instruction to the latest digital technologies, the history of education is a testament to humanity's ongoing quest for knowledge, self-improvement, and social progress. One of the earliest forms of education can be traced back to ancient civilizations such as the Sumerians and Egyptians, who developed systems of writing and mathematics to record their histories and communicate their ideas. In ancient Greece, philosophers such as Socrates and Plato emphasized the importance of critical thinking and the pursuit of knowledge, which set the stage for the development of Western philosophy and science. The current way of teaching in schools, which often involves a structured curriculum, formal classroom settings, and the use of textbooks, can be traced back to the modern education system that was developed in the 18th and early 19th centuries. One of the key figures in the development of modern education was Johann Heinrich Pestalozzi, a Swiss educational reformer who believed in a child-centered approach to education. Pestalozzi developed a system of teaching that emphasized hands-on learning, active participation, and the use of teaching aids such as maps and models. Another important figure was Horace Mann, an American education reformer who is considered the father of the American public school system. Mann advocated for a standardized, uniform educated system that would provide equal opportunities for all children, regardless of their background or social status. Mann said that education, then, beyond all other devices of human origin, is the great equalizer of the condition of men, the balance wheel of the social machinery. Other influential figures in the development of modern education include Friedrich Froebel, who developed the concept of kindergarten, and Maria Montessori, who developed the Montessori method of education, which emphasizes self-directed learning and hands-on exploration. It's important to note that the current way of teaching in schools has evolved over time and continues to be shaped by various factors such as advances in technology, changes in societal values and expectations, and the latest research in education and training. The idea of compulsory education has been controversial at times, with some critics arguing that it infringes on parents' rights and that it may not be effective for all students. However, proponents argue that it is essential for ensuring that all children have access to basic literacy and numeracy skills, and that it can help to promote social mobility and reduce economic inequality. There is some discussion about schools and why students are required to go. It would be easy to not challenge the mind and let students learn naturally in the world and potentially with guided learning based on their own curiosity. However, will future generations be able to read and write? Sometimes being forced to learn is better than not to learn at all. Learning to drive, even though I may not want to, could be seen as better than having to rely on public transportation for the rest of my life. Yes, education fails in many ways, and some say it will round the students out so as to make them average at everything and not really target their strengths. As teachers, we try to encourage and display strengths in students, whilst we also help them with concepts they struggle to grasp. The reality is education is not perfect, but nothing in life is. However, at the moment it is seen by government as the best industrialized model on a global scale to help students to read, write, and complete arithmetic. Could society really go back to only allowing those of nobility or with wealth learn? Schools were seen as a privilege hundreds of years ago, where today is considered compulsory and therefore seen different in students' eyes. Would students think of schools differently if they saw it as optional? If they saw some of their friends attending school and learning to read and write, where they stayed home to either work or play? You may not notice much difference after 1 year, but after thousands of hours of education and many years, the difference would be night and day. Yes, schools are not perfect. We are working on an old model of teaching. At times, creativity might not get the time it deserves. But know this, that schools are shifting in ways to best support students themselves or children themselves for future generations. We've all heard about great-grandparents' stories about how they got the cane when they're at school, or they had to walk 5 miles to get to school in the freezing cold. Children today are a lot more privileged, and with privilege things become easy. And as things become easy, our will to face challenges diminish. So to answer the question, why do I have to go to school? Schools are compulsory to reduce inequality. For in the future you will find those with education will have many doors open to them, to have the ability to achieve many different goals. And those in countries where they have not been able to learn to read, write, or do arithmetic, the options of things that they can achieve are limited to work that does not require study. To finish, Malcolm X once said, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." Whether you learn at a formal school, homeschool, or in any other capacity, asking the question, why do I have to attend school, is simply this. It is your duty for your future self, and also to society that relies on each other to thrive, to learn. Whether that is a school or at home, it does not matter. But learn how to think, learn how to research, and challenge yourself in many different topics so that you can open many doors when you're older and not be stuck relying on everyone else to look after you.